Hey guys, enter the stars. And this is a compilation of all of the stuff that you guys have sent me. All of the amazing synchronicities related to the human eye. The secret of our universe. Outlined through the analogies in the Bible. Through Christ's words. Through Enoch's words. And through God's very words in the Bible, pointing to the inner structure and the anatomy of the eye. King David described the universe, the staff and the rod seen in the night sky through time-lapse photography when there was no time-lapse photography. And so this is from all of you. You guys are amazing. We will be hated in the last days because we will see the truth. And because we reject this world, because our eyes are fixed on heaven. And those that want to hold on to the material, those that want to look back like Lot's wife, will in fact turn to salt. Let's get into this. Amazing stuff from a subscriber. Metro Goldwyn Mayer actually encodes the Earth model inside of the logo. Simply amazing. This is our dome Earth. We live on the outer dome. And as I've said, inside this mirror globe is reflected back at us the night sky. The staff and the rod, as King David described it, the owl eyes, it's all there. Here are some other interesting mirror effects that he put together. Walt Disney. And then we pan over and we find more profound imagery. Paramount Pictures. This almost looks like two hands praying to Lucifer. The stars in the globe. Everything we talked about. The stars being on a firmament. All in one layer. And we showed how the sun never gains on the stars, even though it's much closer from our vantage point. More amazing mirroring going on here. This one blew me away. 7-Eleven. This is what we see in the sky at the equator. Stars going up in the middle of the night sky and on either side, fanning away in opposite directions. The twin opposed vortexes. As above, so below, with the subway logo mirrored. Fascinating work. This subscriber has eyes to see. And that is what Enoch says, that brilliance will mirror brilliance in the stars, so that it could never be subdued, so that it could never be forsaken. And that is what we are doing here, you guys. Simply amazing. Here's another one with Starbucks, superimposed with the eye. McDonald's. This turned sideways is what Enoch describes as how the sun travels. It goes up to the heavens, but then projects as a flat ring down on earth. Exactly what we see in the inner ear. The anatomy shows a ring vertically and a ring horizontally, and those are the two witnesses. The eye and the ear, and that's why God and Jesus talk so much about the eyes and the ears, because they are the witnesses of the anatomy of heaven. And amazingly, just as we said, hell is beneath the dome, where the iris is, blocking out the light, the brilliance of God's projection from behind the stars that creates the internal vortex. It blocks the light from coming back so that we can see clearly. Now, it's interesting that we have a lion here because we talked about the retina being the anatomy of the honeycomb. And when you look at the cross-section of the retina, they show the rods and cones, and it looks exactly like a honeycomb. And then we remember the story of the lion full of bees with Samson. See how it's all hiding in plain sight, you guys. It's all there. And there we have it again, superimposed. Amazing job. Another subscriber describes the gate being narrow that Jesus talks about to everlasting life, and comparing that to the optic nerve at the back of the eye, the narrow gate, the blind spot that we don't see. Thank you, L. Lot, for this information. And talking about how in the end days they will call good evil and evil good. And metaphorically, that is like the light coming into our eyes and being reversed. And then our brain has to flip it right side up. But then in our perception of that, we are blinded. We are blinded. Thank you to the subscriber, Jackie, who asked me to look at a video about an alignment. And this is simply fascinating. There is a planetary alignment that will happen from November 7th to November 15th of 2015. Saturn, Mercury, even the moon aligns in this alignment. All but Uranus will align. Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Now all of these planets exist on a plane. And you saw that, and this is interesting. When you go in a stellarium, look at this. There is the dome-shaped Earth. They never show us the whole sky in stellarium. There's this black spot, or a dome, and that's just more confirmation of what we're talking about. But back to the subject, I digressed. This alignment occurs 11/7 to 11/15, and November is the 9th month in the Roman calendar. I'll say that again. November is the 9th month in the Roman calendar. So if the elite wanted to be slick and sly, they would name September, which is the 9th month in the Gregorian calendar, as the date of this alignment and of this asteroid coming. And in effect, when you convert this from Gregorian to the Julian calendar, this 15th date, it shows up at the end of November or September in the Roman calendar. And I know this is all a little confusing, but if you wanted to, in this situation, it could fit. In other words, in other calendars, the planets align on September 23rd, 2015. Now, I'm not a prophet, and my gifting is not prophecy. I simply clarify the past. 2020 is my gift, hindsight, and clarifying the Bible so that we can build our faith and have the meat instead of the milk in the last days. That is my gift. So I don't want to make this date something that everyone's going to think is, something's going to happen with a rapture or something. I don't want you to start thinking in those terms. Our faith should be strong enough that we're ready for anything. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I appreciate all of your input, you guys. I love each and every one of you. Marcus, amazing, amazing. Comparing the sun and the moon to the serotonin and the melatonin, and comparing that to the milk and the honey. The serotonin being a watery fluid that looks like milk, and the melatonin being a darker fluid and that is the dance that occurs inside the pineal gland. And in fact, I was looking into the pineal gland recently and noticing how it has rod and cone-like structures and a fluid just like the eye, and receptor cells that transmit something back to the brain. And he goes on and talks about the land of milk and honey. Thank you, Kaji2, for the research on the pinealocytes, the rods and cones, like a retina inside the pineal gland. You see, God is an amazing God. This, what you're witnessing here, is the body of Christ. This is the truth, because we've all come to it together. And I apologize if I miss anyone for their input. You guys are amazing. And know that I look at every piece of information that comes to me, and that I try to include it, even though I might not mention you in the video. Thank you, each and every one of you. Thank you, Marcus, as well, for the largest ball in the world, the mirror ball. The mirror ball demonstrating exactly the image that we see in the night sky at the equator, with the equatorial plane of this ball going vertically, and then the images in the southern hemisphere going counterclockwise, and the images in the northern hemisphere going clockwise. And this is exactly what we see in the night sky, you guys. And that is how we know that it is a reflection, because the mirror globe from the outside is going to look exactly like the mirror globe from the inside. Imagine you're standing inside, and these are the stars, each one of these small mirrors. Simply amazing what happens when we all come together to understand the truth. And thank you to Plasma, John Doe, who reminded me of this video that we made, in which we outlined all of the ancient sites of the ancient world, connected, all on a ring. This is the lens-covered Earth. This is it. This is the map. It's a bulge, a lens covered exactly like how we see it inside on the lens of the inner eye. And these ancient sites all existing on one line prove it. Antarctica being a ring around the outer edge, the ice ring.